Debate. Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to a Louie T Network exclusive. Dak Prescott getting to the bag. This was, to me, a foregone conclusion. But there was a lot of speculation amongst fans and people who wanted to believe that Dak was going to end up elsewhere. This was never, ever in doubt, people. He's the perfect Dallas Cowboy quarterback. He checks all of the boxes. He toes the company line. He is everything that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are looking for in the embodiment of a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. And not to mention, he can actually play football really well. And we've seen the progression over the years. So this was never, ever a question of if he was going to resign in Dallas. It was only a matter of when he would sign in Dallas. And the big problem last year was Dak wanted 4 years. The Cowboys wanted 5. Well, I told you he had the Cowboys by the scrotum. And they essentially were going to have to do whatever it is that he wanted to do. He wanted 4 last year. They wanted 5. He got a franchise tag. He wanted 4 this year. They wanted 5. He got his money. Why? Because they can't afford a second consecutive franchise tag. Nobody wants to go into the Kirk Cousins territory. It's a dangerous place to be. You don't want to be there. They didn't want to be there, and they made sure it didn't happen. And to Dak, I say to him what he said to his agent upon finding out the news that the deal had gotten done.
One last thing for you. Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!
Happy for that man. Go get his money. 4 years, $160 million. I don't have to be a mathematician to do the math on that one. That's $40 million a year. And I told you that's what it was going to take. Okay? $40 million. That's the going rate. For anybody out there, oh my God, the Cowboys overpaid. Salute. Okay? This is what the going rate is for a top tier NFL quarterback. Dak Prescott is no slouch. He is no slouch. He's not trash. Okay? So for those of you out there, they overpaid. Look, the money is only going to increase. It's not going backwards. It's not going down. No one's going to settle for a $25 million a year deal. That's not happening. The money is only going up, not down. Now, we could sit here and debate, is he the second best quarterback in the league? Because right now, Patrick Mahomes is being paid $45 million per year, and the second quarterback in the league now is Dak Prescott at 40. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Okay? It's not how any of this works. How this works is, if you're good and you're next up, you're going to get paid. He's not going to exceed Patrick Mahomes. Nobody is. Not right now, at least. At some point, that Patrick Mahomes deal will become obscure. We know that. The Chiefs knew it, and they were happy to do the deal in advance because that deal is going to age well for the Chiefs and poorly for Mahomes. And he's okay with that. Why? Because Mahomes is making plenty of money off the field. Same thing with Dak Prescott, which is why he was willing to bet on himself. Because he's making money hand over fist off the field in endorsements. Why? Because he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and anybody who doesn't get that doesn't get it. He wanted this job. They wanted him here. He's a good quarterback. He's getting better. And we saw the value of Dak Prescott. Last year, the Cowboys got to see it firsthand. If Dak stays healthy, they win the NFC East last year. No questions asked. Unequivocally, 100% they win the division. He gets hurt. They're left with JMU, and they're left with Andy Dalton, and their season goes to hell in a handbasket. Now, I get it. Dak didn't play defense. They still would have won at least 7 games. Trust me. If they won 6 or 5 with the ragtag group that they were putting on the field, they would have won at least 7, probably more like 8 or 9 with Dak Prescott at quarterback. Anyway, it's a big deal. I get it. But salute to Dak Prescott getting his bread. Salute to Dak Prescott staying in the division. And salute to the Washington football team not being the ones to give him his money. Let him get it somewhere else. Eventually, if we get this thing right, we'll have to pay somebody some money like this. And you want to be in a position where you're paying a guy money like this. But this, let me get this straight. Let me make sure you get this straight. That's not our guy. That's somebody else's guy. Let him get his money where he's supposed to get his money. That's homegrown stuff staying where he was drafted. Got a super chat. Want to go ahead, read this super chat real quick from Chris Devers, who writes, long time coming. Dak, baby. Indeed. Congratulations to you as a Cowboys fan and Dak Prescott for getting his money. But I think this was the right move. We knew it was coming. It was a matter of when. We talk about deadlines spurring action. Okay? The deal got done, and it was really rapidly ramped up and escalated because of a deadline. Now, we don't know if it's a hard deadline, but right now it's supposed to be a hard deadline of the franchise tag deadline. Tomorrow is supposed to be the last day you can franchise tag a player. They may move it back. The NFL may push that deadline back. Dallas didn't want to take the risk of having that hard deadline be kept where it is and them have to make a decision they don't want to make. They wanted Dak to move off for 4 years. It wasn't going to happen. And he didn't need to do anything. It was the Cowboys that essentially were going to have to meet him wherever it is he wanted to meet. They were no longer in control of this situation, and they took full advantage. We said it was going to be about $40 million roughly a year to get this done, and it was. There's no surprises here. None. 4 years, that's what Dak wanted. That's not a surprise. The Cowboys weren't in a position to make demands at this point. He's a good quarterback. So, at the end of the day, the Cowboys got their man, Dak got his money, and he got to stay where he ultimately wanted to be. Because let's face it, whether you hate the Cowboys, you love the Cowboys, you're indifferent about the Cowboys, one thing is for certain. They're America's team. And if you're the quarterback of America's team, and yours, boys, you're going to get broken off. If you're any kind of good, it's not just on the field that you're going to benefit. You're going to benefit off of it. Ask Tony Romo. What kind of success did he have in the playoffs? He was a regular season quarterback. But 5 years after he's hung it up, he's over here pawning off Skechers tennis shoes. And he's serving up beer commercials left and right for Corona. Why? Not because he was this great quarterback, but because he was a successful quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Had he been a successful quarterback for the New York Giants or the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Cleveland Browns, you wouldn't see his face. But because he was a successful quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, he's got endorsement deals. 5 years after he's retired, and he didn't win a damn thing. Dak Prescott hasn't won a damn thing in this league, but you're seeing his face all over these damn, Dannon commercials and sleep mattress commercials. Come on, man. Come on. If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's a win for everyone. I'm excited because if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Don't fool yourself, NFC East fans. Giants fans, Eagles fans, Washington fans. The best quarterback in the division resides in Dallas. And I've said this a million times, so this isn't new news. The best roster in the NFC East also resides in Dallas. And now they may actually have the right coaches. I still don't believe in their head coach, but I do believe in their defensive coordinator now. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, I still think the NFC East probably goes through Dallas, and now they've got the best quarterback back in tow. You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. I think the Cowboys are the best team in the division. I thought that going into last season. I haven't changed my mind now that Dak Prescott is back. They've got the best roster. We've got work to do as a Washington football team fan. But hell, we'll see what happens this offseason. If enough changes are made and we figure out the damn quarterback position, we could be right there with their asses. But until we figure some shit out, this move right here puts the Dallas Cowboys back at the top of the NFC East. There it is. So, I'll take a couple of comments, and then we'll get out of here. JP, my man John Perez, says 2 free guaranteed wins for Washington. Change my mind. I don't have to change my mind. If you believe that, I can't help you. If you think, first of all, Dak has never been swept by Washington. Ever. Hell, we barely even beat him. I think we beat him once in like maybe 5 or 6 tries. We've beat him once. So you think this is 2 guaranteed wins? What? Good luck with that one. I'll let you decide that one. I'm not looking to change your mind. You figure that one out yourself. JCamman99 says, so how much money do the Bills need to pay Josh Allen? It's going to be a hell of a lot more than $40 million a year. I can tell you that much. I don't know what the number is right now, but obviously he's got a whole nother season to play. If they get a deal done, if I were the Bills, I'd get the deal done as soon as possible. I wouldn't even wait. I'd do what the Eagles did with Wentz and hope it doesn't blow up in my face. I don't think it's going to with Josh Allen, but I would roll the dice and get it done now. The longer you wait, if Josh Allen somehow manages to pull a Super Bowl out of his ass next year, that deal surpasses Patrick Mahomes' money. You don't want that. At least right now, you could probably do it for $42-43 million a year, per year, essentially. You could probably do it right now. 5 years, $215 million. Yeah, you could do that right now. That's 43 a year. I think you could get away with that. You wait, and you get back to the AFC Championship game next year, and you don't have to win it, but if you get back 2 years in a row, his agent is saying, look, man, this kid here, if he's not better than Mahomes, he's right there. We need equal or more than Mahomes. Probably needs to beat him if he wants that. But you get to the Super Bowl, going to be hard to deny it. Kevin the PRF says, drinking up a celebration. Indeed. Salud. JCamman99 says, he got hurt. He may never be the same again. Again, if you watched that injury and you know about the injury, I'd be more concerned if you told me it was his back or it was his shoulder or it was his wrist or something like that. It was his ankle. He'll be just fine. Okay? With modern technology and science, he'll be just fine. That ankle won't be an issue. He's not a receiver. It's not an ACL. It's not, an Achilles. And if it was a receiver and ankle, you might be a little concerned. He's a quarterback. I'm more concerned with his shoulder or his back. It's neither of those. He'll be fine. I don't worry about that. Let's see. Got another super chat here. This one is from Christian Sorto. Thank you for the super chat, Christian Sorto, who writes, I don't care. Dallas can lose 41-40. The defense is great. That's the biggest issue in Dallas right now is fixing the defense. They've taken a massive step in the right direction by going out and getting ex-Atlanta Falcons head coach Dan Quinn to run that defense. Okay? So, with that said, they got a long ways to go. The defense was absolutely horrid last season, but they've got talent on that side of the ball. Don't fool yourselves. I think it was more so coaching than anything else. We'll figure it out. We'll find out. Look, it wasn't the exact same defense, but it wasn't too far away from the defense that was one of the best defenses just 2-3 years ago. That same defense that shut the Saints down on a Thursday night late in the season, they're not that different from what they were then. So, again, we could sit here and debate apples and oranges. The talent is there. Now it's about getting it coached up. JCamman99 says, seriously, aren't you worried that you don't have a quarterback, Lou? Of course I am. Of course I am. I'm less worried than I would have been in past years because I feel like the defense is on the verge of becoming elite. But you're damn right. We need a quarterback. Honestly, you can't have a conversation, a serious one, about winning a Super Bowl or being competitive for multiple years in a row unless you have a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, which we don't currently have. Of course, I'm worried, but I'm not worried about it to the point where I don't think we can compete. We can compete with anybody, but you won't beat anybody if you don't have a quarterback, and I'm aware of that. JP says, in all seriousness, I'm glad Dak got his money, but fat-ass McCarthy is still a dog shit coach. I don't disagree with that. I don't necessarily subscribe to the name calling, but I'm not a big Mike McCarthy fan. Never was, never will be. Don't think he's a great coach, and this, that, and the third. I could sit here and regurgitate all the things I've said in the past about him, but long story short, he's the shortcoming, just like Jason Garrett was, and they may win games in the regular season off the strength of their roster, but when it comes postseason time, that's when coaching matters. That's when you find out if you've got the right guy or not, and I think they're going to continue to struggle in regular season games too. I mean, I think the decision against the Rams in week 1 cost them that game to not kick the field goal instead to go for it. He's a clown. They'll figure that out. That's not my problem. That's theirs. JP says, Titans first round bust, Isaiah Wilson. I saw that. And we'll save that for the podcast, but it's amazing that they got anything for that guy. Brian Horst says, what does Boss think about the deal? Please tell me you called him. I didn't talk to him yet, but I knew he wanted this. This is what he wanted. He knows Dak is good. He knows that they don't have a chance without him. He got to see it firsthand last year. So, of course, Boss is elated that it finally got done. But I had already told him numerous times, just like I've told you guys, this wasn't a matter of if it was getting done, just when. You didn't know when, but you knew eventually cooler heads would prevail and the Cowboys would wake up, come to their senses, and the deal would get done. Again, Dak didn't have to do anything. He had already drawn his line in the sand, and he wasn't crossing it. Dallas had to meet him, and they did. Canamus Garnet says, how do you think the ankle injury will affect Dak's willingness to scramble? I see that as a major part of Dak's game that has opened up defenses. I don't see it changing it at all. You know, early on when he first comes back, as we see with guys coming off of major surgery, there's going to be a little bit of apprehension. He's got to get hit a bit. He's got to know that it's going to stand up to the rigors of an NFL game. That doesn't happen with practice reps. That happens in a live game. Until he gets into a live game situation and he gets hit and he's able to get up and get back into the huddle, he's going to be nervous. But guess what? He's going to get hit. He's going to get up. He's going to get back in the huddle and he's going to realize I'm okay. And then he's going to start doing Dak Prescott type things. Running on 3rd and 7 for 9, running on 3rd and 15 for 18, and scrambling outside the pocket and throwing on the move. And he's going to be the quarterback that he was prior to the injury. I don't worry about that. And if they had any apprehension about that, they wouldn't have signed him to this deal. So they're not worried either. Kevin the PRF writes, Dallas's O-line just went over the hill even though all skill positions are in their prime. You're absolutely right. They did. But with a couple of good draft picks and 1 or 2 signings in free agency, they could be right back where they need to be. The entire line isn't old. It's just one of the tackles, and the interior's gotten a little shoddy, but they had an injury there with one of their guys. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. A couple of draft picks spent on the offensive line. We know Dallas isn't adverse to spending draft capital on offensive linemen early and often in a draft. They'll be okay. I think they'll figure it out. JP says, you think Zeke will have a better year considering McCarthy basically shut him out of the offense last season? No, that's exactly what he is, which is why Green Bay, when McCarthy was there, never had a feature back, never really had a guy that stood out. They don't run it. McCarthy isn't a run guy, okay? He runs just to say, hey, I ran it. I tried to stay balanced. He wants to throw it all around the yard. That's his thing. That's his DNA. That's what he's always done. That's what he's going to continue to do. Dak Prescott is going to be the focal point of that offense, and Zeke Elliott is going to be an afterthought. There'll be some games where he gets carries if Dallas gets up big early and they turn around and they hand it off to preserve a lead. Yeah, we'll see some games where, Zeke has 27 carries, but if the game's close throughout, Zeke's probably not going to even sniff 20 most games. And he has to be okay with that. If he's not, then he needs to find a way to get the hell out of Dallas. But that's going to be his life moving forward. In any event, that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me on this Louie T Network exclusive. Dak Prescott got his bread, $40 million per year on a 4-year, $160 million deal. None of this is surprising to me. None of it should be surprising to you because we knew this was going to happen. We just didn't know when. We kind of knew the figures. We've been talking $40 million per year. People kept, oh my God, he's not worth $40 million. Look, you know the rules to the game. Then play. Dak got his bread. And all I have to say at this point, if you're Dak Prescott, tell your agent to tell the Dallas Cowboys.
What did I say? Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!
Make sure you subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content. Turn that notification bell on so you don't miss a thing. And hit that like button. Hey, Dak, take us out one more time.
What did I say? Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!